Hey there, my name is Taryn, and this isn't the video that I wanted to make this week, but it is the one that I needed. I reached a point this past week where I didn't even want to try to make anything. Between balancing work and hobbying, socializing, my mental health, I can get easily bogged down with even the simplest of projects. This time, it was different though. I decided to push through and do some sculpting. The Moon Beast called to me for two main reasons. Firstly, most of the drawings or interpretations of it that I've seen, they don't really lean far enough into the toad-like part of their description. Secondly, it has tentacles on its face, and that's one of the grossest and coolest parts about creatures in cosmic horror. Because I'm using a polymer clay, I planned out each section starting with the head so I could bake them in sequence. Even with all that planning, I still managed to overcook the tentacles, but thankfully they're still plenty strong. Once I had them in place, I could bake the whole head and then move on to the body. I often read in comments online that people in the tabletop hobby can be intimidated by or easily put off from sculpting. About a year and a half ago, I started to teach myself how to sculpt. And once I got over my own anxieties and asked for help from the people who knew more than me, I can honestly say this is my favorite thing to do. If you take your time and think of each project as simple shapes, building up to one complicated shape, you can sculpt anything. Well, except for horses. Horses are impossible. Texturing for this kind of creature is pretty straightforward. Obviously, it needs lots of warts and pop marks on the legs and back, some folds onto the neck, and, well, a big, round pot belly. The entire time that I was working on this, I had a couple of tabs open with photographs of toads, of other people's drawings of moon beasts, and of course some crafting videos playing in the background. For the final assembly, I baked the hind legs and blended them into the body. Then the second pair of legs, and when the head got blended in, the whole thing went in for one last bake. Oh, and I almost forgot, but I added some webbing in between the toes. This is partly for the look, but mostly to make sure that the digits don't snap off. I've been wanting to make some kind of Cthulhu-inspired totem for ages, and the Moon Beast is basically just a chunky Cthulhu. So for painting, we start with the standard 2 coats of primer, 1 coat of copper, and then a bronze overbrush. From there, I mixed up some paints to make a patina, so this thing would look like it had been corroding and sort of sitting underwater over time. And then with one of my smallest brushes, I did some very light, very specific, bright orange rust marks all over the entire sculpture. The pose and proportions of the sculpt ended up way cuter than I originally intended, and so to me, it just made more sense to paint it up as a statue or totem rather than as a game piece. Like I mentioned, this isn't the project I wanted to make, but I feel really good about pushing through my creative block and just making something. I'm considering sculpting more eldritch monsters in a similar style, just to have them as a set. As always, if you can like and share this video, that would be a huge help, and be sure to subscribe. I hope this video inspires you to give sculpting a go, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.